I spend so much time helping all of you identify your sabotaging thought, your stinking thinking, your negative beliefs. When I really spent time trying to figure out what was at the base of that, it was I had to earn my help.
Yeah.
And in BariNation, I'm talking about that all the time. You don't earn help. We don't have to earn treatment. Community is treatment, and we're worthy just because we are.
Welcome to the BariNation Podcast, a production of the BariNation Foundation,
where we fight obesity by living our pillars: movement, mindset, metabolic wellness, and community.
4 pillars, 1 mission. We're so glad you're here.
Hi, friends. Welcome back to the show. Today, I'm sitting down with someone who helped change my life and has changed the lives of thousands of people in and around BariNation, therapist Lora Grabow. Lora has spent more than 2 decades helping people heal their relationship with food, and she's been a part of BariNation since the very beginning. But today, Lora isn't here as an expert. She's here as a patient. Menopause changed her body, and even with all of her knowledge, she was doing everything right and nothing was working. What she discovered was a hidden belief so many of us carry, the belief that we have to earn our help. This conversation is about shame, hope, and the moment someone who loves you asks the question that changes everything. A big thank you to Johnson & Johnson, whose donation to the BariNation Foundation made this episode possible. All right, friends, let's dive in. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the show. Today, I am very excited to have a conversation with one of our BariNation friends, experts, longtime supporter, Lora Grabow. Hi, friend.
Hello. It's so good to be here.
I'm so excited to see you. We have had a lot of conversations about what this topic is about today. Before we dive in, though, will you introduce yourself to our friends that don't know you yet?
Absolutely. So thank you for having me. I'm Lora Grabow, and I am a therapist that has been supporting people in the weight management space, for well over 2 decades now. As you mentioned, I've been with BariNation from the beginning. So of course, I've supported bariatric surgery patients. I support now GLP-1 patients, but I was supporting medical weight loss 2 decades ago.
Yes.
And you may be like, well, what was medical weight loss 2 decades ago? It was OptiFast, right? Like so many of your listeners probably remember that. But I worked here in Grand Rapids, Michigan for a medical and surgical weight loss clinic that knew the importance of what I call head work and behavior change and mindset. Mm-hmm. And that's been my passion because whoever, right, whether you're bariatric surgery, GLP-1 patient, woman in midlife, we all need to work on our relationship with food. And so I do that in a variety of ways. My sweet spot is walking alongside patients and giving them the missing piece and giving them strategies. So I do that, of course, in BariNation. I do it. I'm so fortunate to do it one-on-one. I own my own counseling practice, and I do coaching, and I do individual therapy. I speak at patient events, provider events. I have my own online course. Any way I can come alongside and give our patients the tools they need to be successful. But I think it's important recently, and we'll get more into this. I realized I think there's more people I can reach, and it doesn't just have to be medical and surgical weight loss. I think all of us, especially women in midlife, are looking to have a healthier relationship with food and with their bodies. And so I've really been excited about opportunities I know we're going to talk about where I'm really expanding my reach to help everyone. So
yes,
a little bit about me.
I just need to let the world know this one more time. The reason that I am where I am today in my bariatric obesity health journey is because of you and a lot of other people. But the tools that you teach, the space that you hold for practice, and just the hope that you give people in our virtual environment in BariNation is why I am where I am today. People will often ask me, like, well, how'd you figure that out? BariNation. It's because I went to groups. It's because I listened to Lora. I listened to our other therapist, and I had the safe place to practice them. And yeah, truly, if it wasn't for you, if it wasn't for BariNation, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I know thousands of other people are probably nodding, going, because that's how big of an impact you've had on the world. So thank you.
That means a lot to me. I receive that. And the piece I'm most grateful for is to hear you say, I've given you hope, because that's my passion. It's hope.
Yep. It's hope. And it's really kind of starting to become mine and that of the BariNation Foundation. And today's conversation is actually grounded in that. It's kind of grounded in hope. So, okay, friends, I'm just going to let you know, just sit back, relax, spend time with us, hang out with us. Lora and I are having a very casual conversation today. So Lora and I have worked together for a very long time now, like 5 years in BariNation.
No, you believe it?
No, I can't. I can, but I can't, because we have done so many amazing things together. And over those 5 years, we've also become close personal friends. So this conversation is going to be a walk of kind of both of our relationships together as professionals, as people in the community, and then as people and women who are battling things. So there's kind of the stage. So enjoy, friends. Make yourself a cup of tea, grab your water. We are going to have a real conversation here. And I want to set the stage. So you know that I have done everything right in my bariatric obesity journey, in my health journey, right? I have lived the pillars. I have learned and practiced mindset, movement, metabolic wellness. I tap into community every single day. I go to my doctors. I take the medication that's needed. I eat well. I do all the things, right? And then my health does not respond in the way in which I think it should, right? I'm doing everything right. Why is this not reflecting that?
Mm-hmm.
And I know everybody watching and listening is going, because we have felt that way, or we currently feel that way. You recently have experienced something similar.
Yes.
And that's where we're going to start this conversation. So if you feel comfortable, will you share?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, what you just shared, I've held space for countless clients through the years that would come to me and say, I'm doing everything right. The scale's not moving. I'm doing the eat less, move more. And, you mentioned that hope. And I can't tell you, probably one of the greatest things of my last 2 decades is when I can lift shame for people I'm sitting alongside and say, yep, I know you have, but it's biology, right? Obesity is a disease, not a decision. It's a chronic metabolic disorder. And when patients hear that, it's almost like I said, shame is lifted, right? Wait, I'm not a bad person. I have a health condition and there's a tool out there to treat it. Yeah, there's lots of tools out there to treat it. And I know that just from other health things I've been through, many in my life. And then one that I am in now is, let's see, how old? I just turned 53. It took me a minute. So I am in menopause. It was perimenopause till an unexpected hysterectomy about 1.5 years ago, put me in menopause. And I noticed that my body just started not feeling like my own. That so many of you have shared your stories where you said inside me and outside me weren't matching. And I was doing all the right things. And I've noticed what people call the menopause middle start coming. Like I was gaining weight. And I was like, what is going on? I'm an obesity medicine provider with 2 decades of experience. Like I know what to do. So I was getting the protein in. I was journaling my food. I was doing, of course, the cardio. I walk every single day. I've added the strength training. And nothing was working until I decided to onboard a GLP-1 in early June. So I've been on a GLP-1. I have been taking Zepbound, and I am so excited, but there was quite a process to getting there. So I'm glad we can have a conversation about this.
I'm so thankful that you are open to having this conversation, and I know that you are doing a lot of reflecting and a lot of writing, right, on how you got here.
Yes.
Right. So we've acknowledged we can be doing everything right, And yet, right, we don't see those things. And then we kind of have a decision to make. Am I going to continue to kind of live in this frustration, this shame and blame? Or am I going to step out of those feelings, which can be comfortable, and step into a place where I'm a little bit uncomfortable and ask, well, what could be right for me, or what is next, right? And have these conversations. And that's the part of hope that people sometimes need help connecting with. And right. And the fact that you went from frustration and like wondering and just, feeling like you're banging your head against the wall to taking your life in a new direction. So will you share with us, how did you go from where you were to where you are today now?
Yes. So it was quite the process. As I look back on it, I wasn't practicing what I preach, which we'll get to. But again, it hit me, and I share this, and people can go back and look in a Substack article earlier this month. My husband and I are, on our TV, when it goes into whatever screensaver mode, it's like our camera roll pictures. And I saw a picture of myself that I didn't like. And I immediately had the stinking thinking that was, ew, you look so fat. And then I was mad at myself that I had that thought, because I'm like, Lora, you don't talk to yourself like that. Like, you counsel so many people to be self-compassionate. And so, like, I'm calling myself fat, and then I'm mad at myself for calling myself fat. And I'm a big journaler. I was doing a lot of reflection. I have a really close group of friends. I call them my Abide Five. And I had been talking about, I don't recognize my body anymore. Like, this isn't me. I'm hiding in clothes. I don't want to be in pictures. I'm noticing I'm not looking at myself in the mirror from the head down, just the head up. And I'm like, ding, 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 ding. Like, these are stories I have heard in our groups of variation, in my counseling sessions, at, patient retreat events. And I was sitting there. I have a friend, and that could be a whole nother podcast. I think we need to schedule time with our friends on a regular basis. We get together for morning breakfast the first Friday of every month. And I was talking to her again about, I don't know what the heck's going on with my body, but it is not playing by the same rules. Like, everything I'm doing is not working. And she just gently said to me, so why are you not starting a GLP-1? Because so much of, she knows my work, right? And I just kind of, it stopped me in my tracks. And I said, I don't know. And so I had to take some time to really think about that. Like, why aren't I starting a GLP-1? And if I'm really honest, and I love that I get to be human Lora here and not therapist Lora, because why was I not starting a GLP-1? Because I didn't think I had worked hard enough. It was all about the shoulds that I work with my clients. Like, well, you should be working harder, and you should give it 6 more months. You haven't earned this help yet. GLP-1s are for your patients who have the disease of obesity. They're not for someone like you in midlife. Like, you know what to do. Just pull yourself up by the bootstraps and just do it harder. And that is what I call, we need stinking thinking. And what we talk about in BariNation, I need to catch, check, and change it. And it's like, yeah, why aren't I starting a GLP-1? And, obviously something I've really immersed myself in is understanding the biology of obesity, the biology of metabolic disease, and the biology of menopause, and what's happening to women's bodies when we're going through menopause. And guess what? It doesn't work.
No.
Women have been told, well, just eat less, move more, eat less, move more. And when I had that first appointment with my obesity medicine specialist about going on the GLP-1, and it took courage to make that appointment, like, oh, is he going to say I'm not big enough, or you don't need it? No. and I said to him, so, like, what do you think I'm going to notice? What do you think I'm going to notice? And he said, you're going to notice what you're doing is actually going to work.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
There's the hope.
Yes.
Right? He said, everything, all of your healthy habits that you've been doing for years will now start working because we will regulate your biology that is not the same in menopause.
Mm-hmm.
He said, you had a lot going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had an unexpected hysterectomy. You have menopause. Yes, we love that you're on HRT, but this is like the perfect storm in your aging.
Yes. Yes. And I think what hangs people up when it comes to obesity treatment is they look at what they've been doing and they can say with fidelity, I am doing everything. I don't know what else to do. And then that possibility of the things that they're doing being amplified or actually working in the way in which they think it will is possible if you onboard that missing piece. And for so many of us, the missing piece is surgery, medication, or a combination of both. Because as soon as you do that, all of a sudden your workouts are actually doing what you think they're going to do. Your nutrition is doing what you think it's going to do. It's like the disease, menopause, aging, it just acts as a barrier to all the things that you're doing, right? So you've gotten up to this point with all those things, and all you're doing is just banging your head against the wall, going nowhere and going, well, right? Why can't I do anything different? It's because you need something to take down this barrier. You need something to take it down. And once you do, now everything is going to work in synergy. Everything is going to be functioning at that highest level. But it's so hard to believe that because you've told yourself, or you've been told by society for your entire life, oh, this is all you. This is 100% in your control. It's not.
And sadly, when you said, like, how did you get there? And my friend gently said to me, and I think there's some lessons there about having people in your life who can speak truth to you. Yeah. Why aren't you on a GLP-1? And not like, why are you on a GLP-1? It wasn't shaming. It was love. It was curiosity. Like, help me understand this disconnect here. If we really, I spend so much time helping all of you identify your sabotaging thought, your stinking thinking, your negative beliefs. When I really spent time trying to figure out what was at the base of that, it was I had to earn my help.
Yeah.
And in BariNation, I'm talking about that all the time. You don't earn help. We don't have to earn treatment. Community is treatment, and we're worthy just because we are. Yes. But I had a strong belief, and by the way, everything we believe isn't true. We talk about that in BariNation, right? Our brain is not our bestie. But I had a thought that said, you must earn help.
Yeah.
I would never say that to you, April. You said, I've helped you. I've changed your life.
Yeah.
And I really had to check and change that and say, I am worthy of help. And that's actually quite smart and quite wise. Like, not going to keep doing the same thing over and over. I didn't like hiding in my clothes. I didn't like not seeing how I looked in pictures. And I think both can be true. Like, I'm not all about the scale, but I also want to feel healthy and confident in my body.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, what I talk about all the time is when I look at pictures of myself now, I actually see me, right? I see the whole me. Whereas before bariatric surgery, before treatment, I did the same. I looked at my neck up. I did not see me. It was like, I was so in pain and I was so frustrated. I was so all the things that I didn't see myself. And treatment gives you the power to reconnect with yourself, to see yourself again, to know that you are worthy just because you are human and you're living. But man, it takes a lot of work to get there. And if you're going through this, if you are having these same thoughts, I hope this just helps other people drop the shame and the blame that they could be feeling who are watching or listening. Lora, you are an amazing clinician. You've been doing this forever. And you have these exact same thoughts.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Right? So this is a human thing, but like you said, it doesn't mean that it's a great thing for humans. You needed somebody in your community to kindly and compassionately ask you, well, why not you? Or is there treatment out there that could be right for you? That's what it took.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 I think, we were chatting about this a little bit before we popped on, that, you're like, well, how do we get unstuck sooner? Right. Because I could have still, like, it has been almost, about a year and a half. Right. And even before my hysterectomy, I was starting to have, my scale go up. And again, things were just changing in my body. And I'm like, what is happening? How do we get out of that sooner? Because sometimes we're so stuck in our own unhealthy behavior, we can't see that it's unhealthy. And I think we need trusted people who love us and want what's best for us to speak truth, right? I'm glad that friend didn't say, well, why aren't you on a GLP-1? It wasn't judgy. It was like, Lora, you help thousands of people. You talk about the biology all the time. You can do that too.
Yes.
And I had not even thought about it because I was doing the opposite, right? I'm like, I'm an obesity medicine provider. I have worked in weight management. I know the biology. I know the psychology. I know what to do. If anyone can figure it out, I can figure it out. I got all the resources.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, I thought I wasn't worthy of a GLP-1.
Yeah. Yep. Well,
and
Yeah.
And
I mean, all those words, I should have done this. I need to work harder. I need to be perfect at this, right? I need to really dial this in. I should. Those words, I think when we speak them out loud or to ourselves, we think it's going to motivate us. But those words don't do any of that. Those words keep us stuck in shame and blame. And shame and blame never leads to change. Ever.
Yes. No one is shamed into behavior change. And I know that. I raised my daughters, I called it the thou shalt not should upon thyself rule. Right? We didn't should in our home. And there I was shoulding myself. And it should brings a shame spiral. And I think we need, when we're in the shame spirals and we're struggling, we need someone who truly loves us and cares about us and has our best interest, who can give us that feedback to say, like she said to me, why aren't you on a GLP-1? And I see that happen in BariNation groups all the time.
I was going to say, I know there are people watching and listening who are saying, I don't have anybody in my life that would talk to me in a kind way, right? Like, I know that there are plenty of people out there who literally really don't have that person. And I know the answer to this, but right, Lora, are we capable of finding and cultivating those kinds of relationships in an online environment?
100%, 1,000% yes.
Yes.
I have seen it since I have been with BariNation since we launched in 2021.
Yep.
And the sense of community and care, I just saw it happen last night in a BariNation group. Someone struggling, and this is protecting confidentiality because this theme comes up all the time in probably every BariNation group. Stress eating, right?
Yes.
And you could just hear the shame. Like, I know I shouldn't be doing this. Why am I doing this? I know what I'm doing when I'm doing it. And to hear the community come around her and first say, me too, right? That's how we, that's the antidote to shame, is me too, realizing we're not alone. So I watch this happen in every group I lead. Everyone says, I've been there. You're not alone. I stress eat. Yes, it happens at night. And the most powerful thing, and yes, we did get to strategies. And yes, we do talk about that in the BariNation group. That's what I love about BariNation groups, is we don't just stay stuck in problem. Like,
yes,
we leave with an action step back to the, like, we leave with a hope step, something they could do.
Yep.
But this person, the person who was encouraging the person who was struggling said, I just want to point out, you came to group. Like, we're all glossing over that and jumping to strategies, but I think the most powerful thing is you're not hiding.
Mm-hmm.
and you came to group and you had the
Mm-hmm.
courage, because shame only lives if you keep it in silence, secrecy, and judgment. That's Brene Brown's work, right? Shame grows in silence, secrecy, and judgment. The antidote to shame, put it in a peach tree juice, douse it with empathy, it goes away. And that's what happens when you have community, like empathy.
Yeah.
In that group last night, she said, I've been there too. And look what you did. Look at the courage it took to come and to talk about this. And I think that answers your question, because I will also do it on my BariNation groups. What are you taking away? And that person who shared the struggle, and again, we hear this all the time. So I'm not
Yep.
so I can say the people who share that struggle, I can't tell you how many times in the 4 years, what I'm taking away is I'm deeply cared for.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm taking away is I'm not alone. What I'm taking away is people get me. And that's amazing, right? Like, I
Yep.
just sit back. In fact, I said in a group, one of my groups this week, I'm like, okay, we just experienced community as treatment in action, right? Like,
Yes.
this is what it is.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's what my good friend reflected back to me, because, the part of the conversations I didn't share was her saying, me too. And, midlife, my body changed and it's really hard. And, you don't have to suffer, which again goes back to, you feel like you need to earn help. And I just have to suffer a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then spoke a truth to me that I couldn't even see, that was right in front of me.
And again, the power of having people in our lives who are looking at us, not through us, not around us, right? They're looking at us and they're listening to us. And this is a skill that doesn't exist in every community or in every friend group, right? Some people are there for other reasons, right? But when you really have people like your Abide 5, right? Which I absolutely freaking love that name. Those people are there for you. They see you, they hear you, they hold space for you, they accept you as you are, and they approach their interaction with you out of love and compassion and empathy. And it can be hard to find safe places in our life where you kind of have those ingredients, right, to make that perfect space for you.
Right.
And I think that's one of the most powerful reasons or most powerful things about what you do, Laura, right? In the things that you do outside BariNation and what you do inside BariNation, right? Everybody that leads in our community understands those ingredients. They know what needs to be present for people to feel safe, to feel seen, right? To be able to like bring up that struggle. That's a skill. And that has to be taught. It has to be cultivated. It has to be checked constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's one of the biggest differences when it comes to like Facebook groups or sometimes support groups, right, that are offered by our clinical centers. Those are resources, but they don't necessarily have those components that we really are looking for when we are finding these safe places.
Mm-hmm.
I'll share a story. I popped into one of your groups a couple months ago. My husband is having bariatric surgery. This is public information. I'm not sharing anything that he's not. But I was having a really difficult time with it. And I was shocked because I've advocated for him to undergo treatment for a very long time. And I popped into your group because I was struggling and I knew BariNation was a safe place for me. And I said, you know what? I think I'm really fearful that he's going to lose more weight than me. He's going to be more successful than me, right? He's going to look good. And all of a sudden, I'm not as appealing to him, right? Like that was what I said in your group. And what was so kind for me is that everybody in that group was just like, oh, wow. And you purposely just said, let's just give that a moment to sit here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not fill this space with suggestions or offerings, or let's just like hold space for that to live. Because when it lives in space, it becomes real. And when something becomes real, we can see it for what it is, and we can start to game plan. We can start to talk about it. We can start to like put it in context of our actual life. And that gift was what helped me move on to a place of being excited for him and hopeful and all these things. And it's not that I still don't have a little bit of those feelings in there. They're there, but I also know that they're real and it's okay. And now I have the words to not only talk with other people about it, but to talk to him about it.
Right. There you go. Look at that communication.
And I just think it's important to call out, because sometimes I think we think, well, I'm in a community or I'm in a Facebook group or, right. But is it giving you these kinds of moments, opportunities, and connections that we're talking about today? And if not, right, it might be time for you to seek those connections out, because that was exactly the question that I was going to ask, right? If we're tired of sitting where we are, if we're tired of being stuck, if we feel like we're banging our head against the wall, is there a more efficient way to move from feeling stuck to making a decision and taking our lives in a different direction?
Yeah. I think it's, again, find your people and have your people. And hands down, BariNation is a really special community. Right. And what I also love is they're so welcoming. Our members aren't like, oh, I don't want anyone to know this. It's, I don't want this to grow. You are so welcomed when you come to a group, and you're going to experience feeling seen, heard, validated, known right away. So I think that's the first one, is have people. And then the next one, I think it goes back to something we already talked about. How are we talking to ourselves?
Yes.
Right. And so all of us, including me as a therapist, but especially our patients who have lived with the chronic disease of obesity, are excellent at shame. And putting themselves down. And, well, I just need to be harder on myself. If I'm harder on myself, then I'm going to have behavior change. So if you're in that, I keep doing the same thing. Well, I just need to be harder on myself, and I need to crack the whip, and not going to work. Not going to work. And so much of my work with others, and now my work with myself, is having self-compassion, right? So if we go back to the catch, check, and change, catch that thought, like, well, I should just be, and replace it with, what would I say to a good friend? And even before that, like, just to quickly walk you through a self-compassion model, back to my journey with menopause and the unexpected hysterectomy and the weight gain, it was, if I would, and I have done this, but self-compassion, the critical was, you need to get it together, everything, you have access, what's going on. But self-compassion is just taking that moment to say, this is really hard, right? And I often put my hand on my heart. Like, I can't.
I do too.
My hand on my heart. It's just habit of like, Laura, this is really hard. You had to have a hysterectomy you didn't want to have. In your body, your scale's going up, and you don't like yourself in pictures anymore. And now you're being mean to yourself in your head, and that's not you. Like, that's hard. So you validate it for yourself. And then you say, there's other people who find this hard too. So there's that community piece. And there was another piece, because I also heard from a good friend, and this really resonated with me. She wrote about it in her Substack, but I knew it even before. She said, I'm writing a GLP-1 and I'm talking about it. And what really resonated with me, she said, I want to feel at home in my body again. And I'm like, that's it. That's it. And so back to the self-compassion, this is really hard. There's other people out there in midlife who feel the same way as I do. I'm not alone. There's other people who believe it's okay to want to feel at home in your body again. And then the third one is what I already mentioned. How would I talk to a good friend?
Yeah.
And you would never be like, just get it together, work harder, you're being crazy. You would say, this is complex. You've been through a lot of change. Your body is going through a lot of change. The old rules, they don't work anymore when you're in menopause. Why don't you get some help?
Yeah. Yes.
Right. And so so back to your original question, and people say, oh, that's just letting me off the hook. No, self-compassion is about how I don't even like the word hook, but if we really wanted to use that, self-compassion is how you hold yourself on the hook, right? Do you hold
Right.
yourself with shame, or do you give yourself some self-compassion? And when you give yourself self-compassion, you're more likely to then go into healthier behavior, right?
Yeah.
Shame leads to more unhealthy behavior. Shame
Mm-hmm.
would have kept me stuck. I would have kept doing the same things. I would have kept not liking myself in pictures. Self-compassion helped me seek out help, change, and I just feel so much better
Yeah.
at all levels.
Why is it so hard for us to accept help for things that are outside of ourselves? Like why are we so fiercely self-reliant, and why do we just struggle to be like, yeah, I need something that lives beyond me?
Because I think not only do we think we need to earn help, I think we think that we have, so back to our thoughts we have in our brain that aren't true, that
Okay.
asking for help is a weakness.
Yeah.
Asking for help is a strength, right?
Yes.
I do it all the time. Like,
Yeah.
would you try, so back to obesity, would you try to manage any other chronic medical disease by yourself?
No.
No. You need a treatment team.
Mm-hmm. Period. Yeah. No follow-up, no qualifier, no what if. Nope. Obesity is a chronic, relapsing, and progressive disease.
Yes.
And it requires medical treatment.
Yes.
And there are so many things that are within our control. All the things that you have always been doing, all the things that I'm doing, right? We are both pulling all those levers. But sometimes those levers don't open up the floodgate all the way, right? What we need is that outside piece. That is the piece that opens all the levers and allows everything to flow. That's it. That's it.
Right.
We're going to pause here and say some thank yous, because without the support of Johnson & Johnson and the Texas Center for Bariatrics and Advanced Surgery, led by Dr. Joe Cribbins, this episode might not be reaching you. Their support is ensuring that these conversations find the people who need them when they need them most. A big thank you to Johnson & Johnson and Dr. Joe for your donation to the BariNation Foundation. I've been talking about this so much with our transition. So, right, you know, BariNation recently became a nonprofit.
I'm so excited about.
I'm so excited about, oh my God. And the reason that I really know this was the right decision for our organization and for the future is, right, for 4 years, I felt like we were swimming upstream and we were just fighting everything. We were getting nowhere. We were swimming upstream. And some days we were losing ground.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like many of us in this space feel like that way. I'm swimming so hard. I am fighting, right? But nothing you do seems to be making it, because you're continually looking back inside at the very same things. But as soon as you make that switch, as soon as you go outside of yourself and you say, this has to be done a different way, or there's a possibility of a different way to do it, all of a sudden you stop swimming upstream and you start swimming with the stream. And things just flow, things just work, things just click, things feel better. And it's not that it's going to be absolutely easy ahead. It's not, you're still swimming. But instead of fighting against something, you are now rolling, you are going with it. And that feels good.
Yes. Because all of the good habits that you have been doing and I've been doing, like my doctor said, he's like, well, what you're going to notice is what you're doing is going to work.
Yes.
And it reminds me of when I'll have, I'm a therapist. My passion is head work. I always say, treating obesity, we need to treat the biology and the psychology. And people will have come to me through the years and said, okay, so if I do all the head work, so we'll talk about my work with people with obesity. I do all the head work. Do you really think I still need the surgery? And my answer is 1,000% yes. And they look at me surprised. And I'm like, head work doesn't change your biology, right? The CBT tools I'm going to help you with and teach you are helpful, but they can't treat the biology. So yes. And same that I've now learned in menopause, there's certain things I can do behaviorally, but I needed that GLP-1 to do whatever it's doing with my biology as a midlife woman.
Yep.
And I love it.
There is no better feeling. Well, I mean, there are really great feelings. And one of them in our human experience is feeling at home in your body. right? Feeling like I recognize me, I feel like me, I feel good, I feel strong, I feel at peace, whatever it is. That to me is the thing that I am searching for. And now that I've onboarded treatment and I age, right? Like there's no stopping any of this. So as things start to change, as they're going to, the disease progresses and I'm going to need to throw different things at it. I kind of know what my home feels like. And once I discovered that, I've realized I've become fiercely protective of me and how I feel and that connection I have. So once you start treatment and once you really get to that place, you will work really hard to continue to seek it out. You might still run into these little blips that we're talking about today, but the path back to you really is about, it's about hope. It's about acknowledging what we're saying to ourselves that is not true, looking outside of ourselves, right, for some additional support, continuing to do all the things that we've already been doing that we know are helping. We're just not seeing the results yet. And all of this is how we continue to find that safe place within ourselves.
Yeah. And I experienced the same thing so many of my patients experience is like, well, why didn't I do this sooner? Like, how will we take this step? It's like, what? And I think it's important to share how people responded. And I can't wait to hear how people respond, who are listening to this GLP-1, or this episode that I started a GLP-1. I'd love to know what you thought, but my friends, they all said, good for you. And my daughter said, I'm so happy for you, Mom. Nobody said, did you earn that? Did you work hard enough for that? Did you really need that? And I think the people who care for us, they have way more compassion for us than we do ourselves. And I was just so thankful for that experience.
Yeah. And that was really good to be my next question. So how are you feeling about it all now, right? You've been on the medication now for weeks. You've had a chance to kind of understand what it feels like to onboard that treatment.
I think we have to go back to that word hope. I feel a lot of hope because I am starting to feel at home in my body again. Just physically, I immediately felt, how would I describe it? Lighter, and the scale hadn't even moved, or less puffy. And I think that's what I understand as the decrease of inflammation in my body. I also struggle with Crohn's disease, which is autoimmune. And so my GI doctor was completely on board. He's like, we don't know yet, but we're kind of thinking these are going to help with autoimmune diseases down the road. And it's not, it's not going to hurt. It's not going to harm. So I immediately felt a shift with the inflammation being down. Like it's almost like you don't know how sick you are till you're better. Right. So I say that often, or like how much a headache was hurting you till it was gone. And so it was the same thing, like, oh, I guess I did have some inflammation I wasn't really aware of. Having your scale go down, it does. I mean, it's not about me shrinking myself, but, I feel better in my clothes. Things are fitting. I'm not hiding in pictures. We just got back from vacation. I wasn't, there wasn't a picture where someone shared with me like, ooh, I don't like that. Or, I'm excited to see where this goes. And, I feel great. And I feel like, in that first appointment with my obesity medicine provider, when he said, well, what are you going to notice? You're going to notice what you're doing is working. So I'm like, okay, that is definitely true. It is working. And, I know it's going to continue to work. I recently announced it on my Substack, when I Substack a few weeks ago, and that's been great. People have been reacting just really positively and kindly. So I guess I reflect that back to you. Like, what did you think? I mean, I'm someone who has worked with you as a therapist in a group, but I've also been friend and colleague. So what did you think when I said, hey, I think you got to read the Substack article early.
I did. I got to read the article early, and you and I started having conversations about this maybe a year ago, right? Like I was diagnosed postmenopausal. I was experiencing all kinds of weird things, right? That was going on. And I'd shared all of that with you. And when you told me, you said, I'm thinking about going on a GLP-1, but I could just sense you were nervous. There was something there. And I was like, awesome, great. Like, tell me all about it. I mean, it was never like I guess I just understand the power of that medication far beyond the lens of, I think, what most people see it as. Like, most people see it as a way to lose weight. I understand that it is a medication that impacts us in so many different ways at the biological level, right? So even if you don't appear on the outside to be somebody that, and I'm saying this in air quotes, needs to lose weight, that medication serves thousands of metabolic benefits in your body.
Yes.
So I mean, yeah, when you said you were thinking about it, I was like, awesome, great. And I think you even said, like, really? Like, I think you said, do you think I need to lose weight? And I'm pretty sure I said, it's got nothing to do with your weight. Like, if you're experiencing these things, if you're not feeling comfortable, like, something's going on. And I know that you're already doing everything. And probably the very next thing I said was, have you talked to your doctor about it? That was probably what it was. And that was a question I was going to ask you, and maybe you've kind of addressed this, but why were you so hesitant to share it more widely, or were you hesitant to share it? Was it that judgment piece?
Yeah, I think it was because, I recently have just made this shift of reaching out to midlife women and realizing I have some tools to help anyone who's working on their health and wellness journey. But because so much of my work has been with people in larger size bodies, right? The symptom of obesity is excess weight, adipose tissue. I honestly felt that I've heard so many stories of my patients to be like, oh yeah, that person who thinks she needs to lose 20 pounds or whatever, like, she's never walked in my shoes. Like, almost I didn't deserve it because I wasn't big enough.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I haven't thought about that.
Yep. Nope. It makes all the sense in the world, right? Because again,
maybe when you asked me, I was like, or when I had some nervousness telling you that you've shared your struggle with me and for how long it's been. And my struggle is not your struggle. I would never say, I understand how you feel. So it's like, does she really need it? Like, I was someone who really needed it, So I think it was that, which is not true. That's needs to catch and check and change. That's the first time I've talked about that. Guess I need to write about that.
I think it'd be an excellent topic. But what you're describing, the words that you just said, I think are the words that millions of people are thinking about. And it's why they might have onboarded a medication, but they've told no one. Right. Or they continue to live in shame. They continue to kind of live in silence. And that has its own set of pitfalls and things that could not be good about that. But I guess what I'm hopeful for in the years ahead is that we will finally start to look at these kinds of medications, not as correlated with somebody's size and shape. Right.
Yes.
We are learning so much.
We call them the skinny shot.
Yeah, right. Like, it has nothing to do with that. I mean, Dr. Cribbins, on one of the podcast episodes we did with him, he was like, weight loss is kind of like a happy side effect of bariatric surgery. And I was like, I'm sorry, wait, what? Say that again. And he said, no, bariatric surgery is a metabolic surgery. It helps with your metabolism. It's a biologic survey. Like, it's doing all the things on the inside. Weight loss is just like the side effect. Blew my mind and completely changed how I thought about my own journey, my own health. And the longer that I've gone in this space, the further away from judgment I could get, because I'm like, I don't care what anybody has to do for their health. What I care about is that people understand that they're not comfortable, that they would like some help, right? Reconnecting with themselves, with being their healthiest version of them. How they go about it is their business. There are doctors that are out there to help them. They're professionals. Like, you do you, because nobody needs to earn medical care and treatment. There's no threshold to cross to onboard things that can help you be healthy.
Right.
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 And that's why I'm so thankful that you're sharing this story. And that's why I'm thankful you're okay with answering your question that, people need to know. And when we check that thought, right? When we use the tool that you teach all the time, catch it, check it, change it, right? Let me catch that thought. Is that true? Is that really what I'm worried about? Is that true? Oh, okay. Well, I need to change that, because if I stay living over here in this thought, I'm never going to be able to move on.
Right. Which brings me back to having a community where you can bring those thoughts to. Like, I'm thinking other people are thinking this about me.
Yes.
No, they're not. Like, I'm
No.
not. Like you just said, I was excited for you, and how like my friends were excited for you, and my daughters. And that might be a whole nother episode, but I was concerned. I raised my daughters in a scale-free home. Our bodies have never been about a number. It's about health, but I wasn't going to hide it. And I wasn't comfortable physically in my body, but I also wasn't comfortable emotionally and psychologically, because I was starting to put myself down, which is not where I live. And I've done a ton of work on that through the years. And this tool has helped me change that. And, I'm thankful. I'm really, really thankful. And I knew as soon as I made the decision that I wanted to share it, because why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
There's no, I'm a shame lifter. I feel like that's my superpower. Like, I'm so passionate about lifting shame, and I had to practice what I preach and step out of my shame. And I'm thankful for people like you who just reflected back, good for you. I'm happy, and my friend, and all the great feedback I've been getting since I shared, you don't need to earn help. Why I decided to start a GLP-1 in midlife.
Yes. Yep. Well, and the other piece that's so powerful to this, Lora, is you're not offering false hope that we're never going to think these things, or we're not going to find ourselves in this thought pattern again. But what you are saying is that, right, this is just how our brains are wired. It's how they work. But there are things and tools that we can deploy to move us a little bit more efficiently out of these thought patterns that are keeping us stuck, and embrace the thought patterns that help us move forward.
Right.
Yeah. That's it.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Okay. We have covered a ton. I'm going to attempt to do a very quick, recap, right? Okay. Let's see. You can offer me a grade at the very end. You were struggling with your health. You were not feeling at home in your body, and you were doing all of the right things, and you were banging your head against the wall, and you connected with your community, and you shared with them what you were feeling and what you were experiencing. And they reflected back to you empathy, compassion, and understanding. So you're able to share those things in an environment where you felt seen, you felt safe, right? It was an antidote to shame, as you described it earlier. And you onboarded care with a medical professional. You have been reflecting on what that care has allowed you to access, right? Which is feeling home again in your body, feeling lighter, feeling like you can access more of the things that you want to do. You just feel better and more ready to embrace this. And you are publicly sharing this story because you know that it helps you, and it also helps other people.
Yes. A+++. Great summary.
Woo!
Oh, we did. I love it.
All right. And then the last thing I'm going to summarize, right? Because I know that, I'm just going to say it, everybody watching this is feeling at some point like they have hit a wall, or they are hitting a wall, and they are stuck.
Yeah.
And there are tools that we can use to get out of it. One of the tools that you mentioned is catch it, check it, change it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where we stop and say, what am I thinking? What am I saying to myself?
Mm-hmm.
Is this true? Probably not. Let's change this to be more truthful and realistic, because that thought is that initial thought, that talking bad to yourself, those negative things, that's keeping you stuck in shame and blame, and shame and blame never change.
Mm-mm.
And the antidote to shame, which I'm going to let you say, is what?
Empathy. Other people who say, me too.
Other people who say, me too.
You realize you're not alone. And I think that lifts it. And I would probably add a close second as self-compassion.
A very close second. All skills that we can work on. And if you know that you don't have a person or people in your life who are safe to have these conversations with, then it could be time for you to seek that out. And that connection, that community is available to you in virtual spaces. especially
Absolutely.
spaces, right, that are built to ensure that safety, spaces that are led by experts who understand how to maintain that safety, and spaces that will hold the space for you to just be there and exist.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And we know and we acknowledge it takes a lot of bravery. It takes work to do these things.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will say is if you're watching this and you're feeling overwhelmed, or you're like, I don't know where to start, or I don't think any of this is going to work for me, you have two people on this screen who believe in you and who will hold space for you.
Yes. Come to one of my BariNation groups.
Come to one of her BariNation. Yeah. I mean, I'm not exaggerating when I say this. I am the person who I am today, and I'm able to move from shame into, right, a different place because of Lora, and not only what she has taught me, but the place that exists for me to practice. That's the key. Let's see. I've been a bariatric patient now for 7 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning each and every day. So this is not something that you're just going to hear one time and go, oh, I got it.
Yeah. No, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work that way. And I think about once a month, Laura, I send you a text message and I'm like, you're living rent free today, or thought of you today, or use this today, because it just has to remain on top of mind. So, okay. So did we kind of cover the tools?
You did. A+. Yeah.
Okay. What's the thing that you're hoping people are leaving this conversation with?
I'm hoping that people are leaving this conversation with hope and realizing they're not alone, and that, gosh, even Lora Grabow struggles, right? So sometimes maybe someone puts me on a pedestal. I hope that people have learned that through my vulnerability, that everyone has their stuff and we need each other. So I think that sums it up.
And mine would be, I hope this conversation leaves you with a spark of inspiration to try something.
Right.
Try something. Try anything that we talked about today, even if that is you sitting down and journaling after this and saying, well, Laura said this, and then April said that. Great. Try that. Just try something. And just know that change is possible. It is possible. We are both living, breathing, real life examples of how we are changing every day in our life. And if it's accessible for us, it's accessible for you too.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Laura, my friend, if people would like to connect with you to keep this conversation going, where can they find you?
I would love to invite them to my brand new community, which is my Substack. So it's my name, Lora Grabow, after the food noise. And yeah, come there, and then there'll be links to connect with me on Instagram, Facebook, all the things. But yeah, come on over and join me in Substack.
Yep. And we will make sure, friends, that it is linked in the show notes below, as well as her website and her Instagram. And if you would like to learn from Lora in BariNation, we invite you to do so. We do have that community. And I think you lead 10 times a month in BariNation.
I do. I certainly do.
Mondays, Wednesdays, and
so it's Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays.
Yep. Yeah. Just an absolute game changer. So, and friends, if there's a question that you would like to ask Lora, you can reach out to her directly. You can leave it in the comments of this episode. And of course, Lora, we will invite you back soon to continue this conversation, because as you always say, headwork is the missing piece and community is treatment. You live those each and every day. And we're just so thankful that you're willing to share your story and your experience with us here on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I've loved every minute.
Me too. All right, friends. Thank you for tuning in. Share this episode if it resonated with you, and we will see you in the nation soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, my friends. We're going to wrap up this amazing episode by saying thank you. If you are a donor of the BariNation Foundation, thank you. Your gift ensures that this conversation really finds the people in the moments when they need it most. And of course, Johnson & Johnson and the Texas Center for Advanced Surgery and Bariatrics, led by Dr. Joe, is ensuring that these conversations continue to happen. If you would like to join them and support the mission and this show, head to BariNation.org or click the link in the show notes. thank you to everyone who is supporting the BariNation Foundation.
Thanks for joining us. This podcast is a proud production of the BariNation Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit.
Our mission is to advance metabolic wellness for those living with the disease of obesity by bringing you evidence-based education, stigma-free support, and meaningful connections in the exact moments that shape your daily life.
A quick reminder that the information discussed in this episode is not medical advice. Be sure to speak with your personal medical provider about your specific health needs. Thank you for listening or watching, and we'll catch you on the next episode.